During the Somali Civil War in 1993, the United States, supported by the United Nations, carried out an intense military operation in what came to be known as the Battle of Mogadishu. In a war-ravaged Somalia, the central government collapsed, leading to a power vacuum and widespread violence. In response to the deteriorating situation, the United Nations Security Council authorized a peacekeeping mission to restore order and provide humanitarian aid. However, the mission faces significant challenges when conflict erupts between the UN forces and the militia loyal to warlord Mohammed Farah Aidid, who has declared himself the president of Somalia and steals Red Cross food shipments, which worsens the humanitarian crisis in the country. To restore stability, U.S. President Bill Clinton deployed Task Force Ranger, composed of highly trained soldiers from the 3rd Battalion/75 the Ranger Regiment, Delta Force operators, and the skilled flight crew of the 160th Special Operations Aviation Regiment, SOAR, also known as the Night Stalkers. Their primary objective is to capture Aidid and dismantle his network. Led by experienced officers such as Lieutenant Colonel Danny McKnight, Captain Mike Steele, and Master Sergeant Gary Gordon, the American forces embark on a daring mission. However, what was intended to be a swift and precise operation quickly descends into chaos and tragedy. On October 3, 1993, the U.S. forces executed a plan in Mogadishu, Somalia, to capture 2 of Aidid's top advisors, Omar Salad Elmi and Abdi Hassan Awale Kabdid. The operation began with the successful capture of Osman Ali Atto, a faction leader supplying weapons to Aidid's militia. This initial victory bolstered the confidence of the American soldiers, leading them to proceed further into the heart of Mogadishu, unaware of the fierce opposition they were about to encounter. As the soldiers pressed forward, they were met with a torrent of heavy fire from Aidid's well-armed and determined militiamen. The chaotic urban landscape became a battleground, with intense street fighting and constant exchanges of gunfire. Amid the chaos, tragedy struck when Private First Class Todd Blackburn, a team member, fell from one of the Black Hawk helicopters, plummeting to the ground and sustaining severe injuries. Recognizing the urgency of the situation, Staff Sergeant Jeff Strucker led a detachment back to the UN-held Mogadishu airport with Blackburn to ensure his immediate medical attention. Meanwhile, Specialist John Grimes, another Staff Sergeant Matthew Eversman's team member, found himself separated from the group after surviving an RPG explosion. He faced the daunting task of navigating the hostile streets of Mogadishu alone, desperately trying to find his way back to his comrades. Amidst the chaos and confusion, the situation took a turn for the worse when one of the Black Hawk helicopters, Super 6-1, piloted by Chief Warrant Officer Clifton Elvis Wolcott, was struck by a rocket-propelled grenade, RPG, and crashed into the streets below. The impact was devastating, leaving the helicopter in flames and the crew in grave danger. Despite their dire circumstances, the surviving crew members, 2 Delta Force snipers, managed to extricate themselves from the wreckage but found themselves surrounded by enemy combatants. As news of the downed Black Hawk spread, the ground forces were redirected to converge on the crash site. However, the U.S. soldiers faced relentless resistance from Aidid's militia, who erected roadblocks and set up defensive positions to thwart the American advance. Lieutenant Colonel Danny McKnight's column, tasked with providing support, found their progress impeded by these formidable obstacles, making it increasingly difficult to reach the crash site. Simultaneously, Eversman's Ranger unit, comprising brave and determined soldiers, arrived at the crash site and quickly established a defensive perimeter. They faced overwhelming odds as Aidid's militia launched relentless attacks, employing small arms fire, RPGs, and improvised explosive devices. The Rangers bravely fought back, using their training and camaraderie to hold their ground and protect their fallen comrades. The battle intensified as the day wore on, with both sides locked in a deadly struggle for supremacy. The American soldiers displayed immense courage and resilience, fighting against overwhelming odds while seeking to extract their wounded and fallen comrades. The streets of Mogadishu became a war zone, with the sound of gunfire and explosions echoing through the air. Simultaneously, another Black Hawk helicopter, Super 6-4, piloted by Chief Warrant Officer Michael Durant, was hit and crash-landed several blocks away. These two downed aircraft become the focal points of intense fighting as the soldiers desperately attempt to rescue their comrades and secure the crash sites. The situation on the ground rapidly deteriorates as Somali militiamen, armed with heavy weaponry and supported by a hostile population, engage in relentless attacks on the stranded American soldiers. The men of Task Force Ranger find themselves outnumbered and outgunned, facing a deadly urban guerrilla warfare scenario. In a remarkable act of bravery, Delta Force snipers Sergeant First Class Randy Shuggart and Master Sergeant Gary Gordon volunteer to secure the crash site and protect Durant, who is still alive. Despite their heroic efforts, the overwhelming enemy forces eventually overwhelm the site, resulting in the deaths of Shuggart and Gordon and Durant being taken captive. As the situation worsens, McKnight's column is forced to abandon their attempts to reach the crash sites. They return to base with their prisoners and casualties, preparing for a daring extraction mission to rescue the remaining soldiers and pilots. Major General Garrison requests reinforcements from the 10th Mountain Division, including armored units from the UN coalition provided by Malaysia and Pakistan. Meanwhile, the soldiers trapped at the crash site of Super 6-1, including Staff Sergeant Matt Eversman, Specialist John Grimes, and numerous others, fight desperately to hold their ground against relentless enemy attacks. They endure heavy casualties and intense firefights, often with limited ammunition and dwindling supplies. The resilience and determination of these men are put to the ultimate test as they struggle to survive and await rescue. The battle waged on relentlessly, unforgivingly, throughout the day and into the cover of darkness. As night fell, Aidid's militia intensified their assault on the trapped American soldiers at the crash sites. The besieged soldiers, facing overwhelming odds, fought back with unwavering determination and resilience. They held their ground, refusing to yield despite being outnumbered and outgunned. During the chaos, the American soldiers relied on the support of AH-6J Little Bird helicopter gunships to unleash strafing runs and rocket attacks on the enemy. The thunderous roar of gunfire and the deafening explosions echoed through the night, lighting up the darkened streets of Mogadishu. The soldiers found solace in the piercing beams of light that cut through the blackness, providing a glimmer of hope amidst the chaos. Relief finally arrived in the early hours of dawn. A column of reinforcements from the 10th Mountain Division, bolstered by armored units from the United Nations coalition, rolled into the war-torn city. Troops from Malaysia and Pakistan stood side by side with their American counterparts, united in their resolve to end the violence and secure the safety of their comrades. With the arrival of these reinforcements, the tide of the battle began to turn. The trapped American soldiers, who had bravely fought for their lives throughout the harrowing night, now saw a glimmer of hope. The relief column provided a path to freedom. This lifeline allowed them to break free from their encirclement and reach the much-needed safety of the soccer stadium, known as the Safe Zone. However, the price of victory was steep. The Battle of Mogadishu, forever etched as the Day of the Rangers, exacted a heavy toll. 19 brave American soldiers, including the heroic Gordon and Shuggart, made the ultimate sacrifice to defend their comrades and their mission. Their selflessness and unwavering commitment to duty will forever be remembered and honored. Beyond the American casualties, the battle also took a devastating toll on the Somali people. Over 1,000 lives were lost, a stark reminder of the human cost of armed conflict. Yet amidst the grief and the scars, a profound sense of honor and duty remained. The fallen soldiers were not forgotten. Their memory served as a beacon of inspiration, symbolizing the indomitable spirit of those who answered the call to serve their nation. The Battle of Mogadishu left an indelible mark on the hearts and minds of those who witnessed its horrors and felt its profound impact. It serves as a testament to the bravery and resilience of the human spirit, a reminder that even in the darkest times, heroes emerge, sacrifices are made, and the bonds of brotherhood endure. Michael Durant was eventually released after 11 days of captivity. President Bill Clinton subsequently withdrew all U.S. forces from Somalia. The Battle of Mogadishu resulted in the loss of 19 American soldiers and over 1,000 Somali lives. The slain soldiers' names are honored, including Sergeant First Class Randy Shuggart and Master Sergeant Gary Gordon, who won the Medal of Honor posthumously. Mohammed Farah Aidid was killed in 1996, and General Garrison retired the day following the mission.